get to what we have to do this morning, and I'll have my other guests join me, and then we take off. I've got Nana Akomia, who is former communications director of the NPP, appears to be missed by many of his people who are now rooting for him to become a chairman within the party, as in the vice chair positions, who is now the man in charge of the STC. Is here. Good morning and welcome to the show, Nana.
Good morning, Samson.
For a long time.
Yes, but I'm still in your corner.
Right, thank you. Okay, also here in the studio is Isaac Adongo. He's MP Bolga Central and member Finance Committee of Parliament. Good morning and thanks for joining us. We also have in the studio Dr. Eric Odro Osai. He's a lawyer and governance expert. Of course, we have our regular panelists, Editor-in-Chief of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdul Malik Kweku Bako. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us, and let's get to the issues that we have to discuss this morning. I have been confused about this particular issue, that the president says that, you know, I have been on a campaign before I was voted promising that NHIS is a big deal because MPP started it. And so when you give me power, I will revive it, because he kept saying it was collapse or collapsing. And the NDC disagreed with him. Now he went to London and declared that part of the reason NHIS was struggling was huge debt. And he's been able to clear 1.2 billion Ghana cedis of that debt. The NDC showed documents that demonstrate the contrary, that the debt, in fact, was less than $500 million. So what's going on? And then we have some of the hospitals, the private hospitals, even including public hospitals and clinics that use NHIS, also come to contradict the president. So I am confused. Let's listen and watch these clips, and I get my guests to speak to us on the matters.
We're reviving the strength of our national health insurance scheme, which under the previous government was being strangled by debt. Of the 1.2 billion CD debt we inherited, the equivalent of some $300 million, we're paid in the last 15 months 1 billion CDs, the equivalent of $250 million. And payments to service providers are now current. The scheme is regaining its effectiveness so that for a minimum amount, subscribers can have access to a wide range of medical services.
We just got the information that government says he has cleared 1 billion of the total cost. It's never true. As I'm talking to now, we have still outstanding debt from 2016 up to 2018. 2016, we have 4 months they haven't paid. 2017, 5 months unpaid. 2018, nothing has been paid. So where is the debt that the government has cleared? If the government, Nana, our president, has paid, then we are pleading with him that he should contact the person he paid the money to. The money has not been given to us. The picture is bad. Businesses, our clinics are collapsing. If you don't pay us, maybe by next month, we will close down.
The situation is that we, especially those of us in the eastern region, and other regions haven't received any payment for some time now. But even for those who have received, what they have received is for services rendered earlier parts of this year. The earlier parts of 2017. But we haven't had anything for 2018.
Right. So how much are you owed as we speak? How many months are we looking at?
We are owed Off the top of my head, we owed about 13 months of outstanding claims.
13 months?
Yes, and that I can give you the breakdown. The breakdown is 4 months of 2016, that's from September to December, and for 2017 from June up to December, and like I mentioned earlier, for 2018, nothing has been paid at all.
That cannot be correct. That cannot be correct. Have they submitted their claims? Have we vetted? And their claims are efficient? That is not correct. I've been going around the country. Last month, I think, sometime this month, I toured over how many facilities in Braham. Wherever I went, they have been paid up to August for 2017, right? So where does this 15 months come from? So if there is one isolated case, one particular person who has got that problem, let him come and complain and let us look into his challenges and see what we can do for that person.
It's surprising that the handlers of the Mr. President are not really telling him the truth. I don't want to believe that it's a deliberate attempt to mislead Ghanaians. When they started in 2017, they reported this and said that claims arrears, because there's a funding gap of about 300, if you add the 177, they had a claim arrears of about 420. And it is there. If you go to the National Health Insurance formula, page 24, is there. That clearly says that. So for me, this is what we know.
Yes, which is the figure of 425.79 million Ghana cedis. And I'm reading from the documents here. It says claims arrears from 2016. For you...
this is as of December. But I remember as of December, the Minister of Finance had given them their money short 177 million. So if they give them obviously that's how it runs. You see that in subsequent year, in 2018, they were paid that money of the 177 million from the Minister of Finance. Yeah. So they didn't have that. But as we speak now, 2018 formally is also here.
So as far as you are concerned, as at the end of 2016, if all the outstanding monies that needed to be cleared that had been collected through the NHI levy were given to them, the debts would not be 1.2 billion.
No,
it will be
not
100 and it will be what again?
It will be just about 337, because that's their funding gap. That has been reported. And I'm saying that in...
Right, so you heard His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, speaking in London, and you heard some of the associations of, first of all, we have heard the Association of Private Clinics also speak. We have also heard the Association of Public Hospitals also speak and dispute the President. You've heard the Health Minister, Akufo-Addo Menu, and you heard Muntaka Mubarak. Muntaka Mubarak also speak there. Now, let's hear if Nana Kumia can assist us to clear our confusion. That is, if you're as confused as I am. Nana, so like I asked, what's going on?
Well, thank you, Samson. And let me wish your listeners a good Saturday morning. Yes, there appears to be some confusion from the narratives that you have played. On one side, you have the NHIS, the health service, the president saying one thing, and then the NDC and also some of the providers also say another thing. So there appears to be some gap that must be filled. From the outset, let me state that this kind of table tennis politics that we do, we should be growing out of it. The Honorable Adongo is in Parliament. Parliament provides us the best platform for resolving all of these issues. So the NHIS and the minister and the president say that a certain amount of money has been paid. The minority disputes that. All it takes is to summon the minister and the NHIS people to Parliament to disclose the basis for their statement. And if there's any contrary evidence, it is presented to them so that the matter is resolved. So that this table tennis, yes, I'm saying this, oh, you are lying, oh, no, you are lying, should stop so that our politics can move forward better. I would have wished that the minority by now should have filed an urgent question inviting the Minister for Health and the man in charge of NHIS to Parliament, where there will be live television. Let them tell Parliament the basis. So for me, that's my fundamental point. Now, addressing some of the issues that you have narrated.
But as you speak about the parliamentarians, Muntaka Mubarak, showed that document, the National Health Insurance Fund Allocation Formula, 2017. And it is in that document, which is presented to Parliament through the Minister of Health, that we have the 2016 total claim arrears of the claims, which is pegged at 425.79 million Ghana cedis.
And yet, the president...
Can it be expected that there was a mistake in that document, or what is it?
No, I don't think there's a mistake in that document. What you have is that there are documents saying that some 429 million is outstanding. 25. So if somebody, the caliber of the president, is saying it is 1 billion, then on the face of that document, which is saying 425, you could say there was a mistake. There's no mistake. You see, that's why I said that these things can be resolved out of the ping-pong theater and resolved properly. What is being talked about, this 429, is referring to one thing.
425.
Is referring to one thing.
Yes.
Arrears.
Correct.
What is the president referring to?
Arrears.
No.
Debt.
Debt.
Inherited debt.
Inherited debt.
Okay.
You see, it's a fundamental point as far as I'm concerned. You are talking about arrears. The other person is talking about debts. What it means is that the debts go further than the arrears. The NHIS is a huge organization.
Help us with the distinguishing features, arrears and debts.
I'm coming to that. The NHIS is a huge organization.
Right.
They contract a lot of work in the country. Building works all over the country, all over the districts. Painting work all over the country. They owe a lot of contractors and other inputs that make the stationery, fuel, a lot of contractors. They owe, the one they owe to the service provided is what we call the claims arrears.
Right.
So the claims arrears is just one part of it. There's also other debts that are not exactly claims, but are it's like multimedia. If people go and say that there are salary arrears that are owed, but multimedia consumes electricity. Multimedia consumes water. You consume stationery. You contract works to be done. All of that is part of the debt. So I believe that this can easily be resolved when the proper officials are invited to Parliament for them to come and break down the debt. What we have is 429, and that is claims. What are the other components of the debt that make it 1 billion or 1.2 or whatever? And then those bases will be given. And then the matter will be interrogated, then resolved.
Right.
That's my short take on this.
Okay,
matter.
but you said that, again, on Parliament, you said that you expected that by now they would have placed an urgent questioning. Yeah. They're on recess. It's just that we all know that they have been recalled again urgently. Are they able to do that within this period?
Well, once they're on recess, it presents a little difficult in terms of the timing. But I know Parliament is coming back maybe next week. Okay. If I'm not. But in any case, the committees always work. The Committee for Health which includes membership of all the parties, can always call an emergency meeting. There are only 20 or 30 members of the committee, and invite the minister or the director of the health NHIS and deal with the matter because there's an urgent issue.
Okay.
These matters should not be left to speculation, and this one says this and this one says no, you are lying, you are not lying, you don't know. We don't get anywhere.
Isaac, people are asking, why are we playing politics with such a sensitive and important national, scheme? When Nana-Addo was doing the campaign, he spoke about the problems. Do we appear now to be making such an issue of, life and death, people's health, a question for political discussion?
Well, good morning to you and to your cherished panelists and to your viewers. Well, I think, I don't know who this question should be directed. It should be directed at the president because we are not playing politics with it. Parliament has control over the public purse. Parliament approves the formula for the NHIS to be able to actualize the expectations of the national budget. In that formula, the NHIS identifies all its cost centers and its revenue sources and allows Parliament to meet as a committee of the whole and to bring them to try and explain these numbers and to try and explain the policy position behind these numbers. In those formulas, if there are any debts, they are supposed to be stated in the formula because the formula must be indicating that I am spending so much of the monies that are accruing to service a certain kind of debt. In addition to my normal operational expenses, which include, of course, my claims. And on the basis of that, the committee of the whole puts together a report for the debate and consideration of plenary. That was about the last item we considered before we rose from Parliament. So Parliament really doesn't have a need to call NHIS because we've just finished that exercise and we are very clear in our minds what the financial position of the NHIS is. Suddenly the president says something completely different from what we know and from what NHIS had told us. So if there's anybody doing politics, then there's a disconnect between the NHIS and the briefing that the president receives. And that has to be dealt at that level. It cannot be a parliamentary work anymore. And I have the formula that was presented to us.
Yes, but is it not possible that the president may have been talking about what he inherited together with something that was still, that had been accrued in addition to when he took over, but simply just said, this is what I inherited? Is it not possible to look at it that way and resolve this confusion?
We can look at it that way if that is the case. I mean, what is the case? What is the reality? The president cannot be on top of everything. He has to be briefed properly. And I'm saying that the briefing that Parliament had was to the effect that if you take the receipts and payments, and here receipts and payments, we are looking at the actual amount of money that was received by the NHIS and the actual disbursement of payments out of that. They tell us exactly where the monies were spent. They tell us exactly where the monies were spent. In fact, they categorize these payments into those that they had brought forward from previous years and those that were current for the current year. And in that document, they also have what we call the revenue and expenditure account. The revenue and expenditure account is saying that even though we receive so much and we spend so much, what we were expecting at the end of the year should come to us based on any outstanding revenues that have accrued, but which government is yet to release. Our revenue expectations for the end of the year is so much. Don't forget that revenues that are released to NHIS are based on inflows into the consolidated fund.
Right.
This has a time lag of probably about 3 months before they are released. So as of December, they will have a fair idea that for 2016 or 2017, even though we have spent so much, we're expecting that the fourth quarter, when it is released to us, this will be the total revenue would have accrued for 2017. And out of that, these are the actual expenditures that we have incurred in terms of payments. But then there are also accrued expenditures that we expect to pay, but which have not yet been paid because we haven't received the funding. So you have a clear picture of your total obligations as an organization. Now, if you look at the receipts and payments, it will tell you that we're expecting, we have received 1.2 billion and we have spent around 1.2 billion. But when you go to the income and expenditure, it will be telling you that the revenue expectation is about 1.4. Why is it saying so? Because they expect an additional 177 million to be received to cover 2017. Then they will tell you that as a result, our expenditure level is expected to be this, and there is a deficit. Okay. Now, in the 2018 formula,
and what you have just been
going
through is National Health Insurance Fund Allocation Formula 2017.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, let me look at 2018. And in 2018, it will be telling you, it has to report on what happened in the previous year.
Right.
Before proceeding to the current year.
Okay.
And in that report, in the 2018, it then tells you that the arrears that we have cleared in respect of 2016 is 425 million. The arrears that we have cleared in respect of 2017 is also about 436 million. Cumulatively, if you put the figures together, we have cleared about 900 million, which is both 2016 and 2017. So even the total payment of claims for both 2016 and 2017 doesn't come near 1 billion.
Oh, I see.
Yes, doesn't come near 1 billion. And so you will find it strange that that number should even be clicking the president's mind, because the total payment for both 2016 and they budgeted that 2017, the total claims expectations was 1.1 billion. You end up paying about 436 billion there, or 456 billion thereabout. So you still have a huge gap, even on the 2017, which hasn't been paid. Now, what what do you call it? The service providers are saying
436 million.
456 million out of 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
No, million out of 1.1 billion. So even in respect of 2017, if you do the numbers, there are some arrears. And if you do the total expectation for 2017, and you deduct the total payment of claims, there is a balance of about 756 million. This is what they are looking for. Again, for 2016, if you look at the accounts, it will tell you that between January and up to March, the claims were paid. What the government paid, the 425 million, is in respect of November, December of 2016. Okay? Then it will tell you that the total outstanding as at the end of 2016, and I want you to take note of this, was 844 million. 844 million. Out of which 425 point something million has been paid. So there is a balance of about 400 million, which is what they are referring to as the outstanding claims for 4 months for 2016. Okay, so the president only paid 425 million in respect of 2016, with a balance of 400 and something million, which these people are saying is still outstanding for 2016. The two put together doesn't come near 1 billion for total outstanding as at the end of 2016. And in fact, the total payments for the entire 2017, whether they were in arrears of 2016 or they were current for 2017, doesn't come near 1 billion. So where are these numbers coming from? And these are the numbers that are available to Parliament. These are numbers that only a month ago,
whatever
NHIS came to explain to us. So we want them to come and explain what. And I expect the Minister of Finance, not to be the Minister of Health, not to be saying that I visit agencies for them to tell me whether I have been paid. You should have the documentation in your office to know what the arrears are.
So Nana Kuma has been perusing the documents that you brought and seems to have a point. But my question, this is my question.
Let me build my point.
Yeah,
he can come in anyway.
Yes, you've built quite a point. I think you have made a case. But I am asking, the president said the scheme is regaining its effectiveness so that for a minimum amount, subscribers can have access to
this year, 2017, the scheme is in arrears of 1.2 billion. It cannot be that you move from an arrears of 844 million to 1.2 billion and you say we are improving. You are not. Let's look at the funding to the scheme. And these are the numbers reported by the government's own agency, National Health Insurance Authority. It will tell you that in terms of actual collections of revenue by the state that are attributable to the National Health Insurance, this government did very well. There was only a deficit of just about 9.3%. But in terms of actually releasing the money to the agency, it worsened from 87% to 78%. In other words, the monies weren't going to the National Health Insurance Scheme. So they claim that NDC wasn't paying. And this is after capping and taking monies from them, recapping, and taking monies that are due to them, not even giving that money to them, reducing the obligation down further. You still aren't able to meet it. And those who were still doing it previously were doing 87% funding, okay, and you are doing 78% funding. Right. If you look at the annual actual releases, you can see the numbers from 74% to 70%. That is a decline. So you see a National Health Insurance Scheme struggling to be current and building an arrears of 1.2. That same agency is not getting adequate funding. And in 2018 budget, 900 million has been taken away from the scheme to fund priority programs.
Okay, thank you. Nana, you have discovered something. Just hold on. I'll come to you. But I'm wondering what exactly is going on when those who are the providers come to contradict the president in the manner they have done. What could be amiss? Maybe, hold on, let's hear from Kuku, then I'll come to you.
Well, see, it's I'm not sure. Let me be very honest with you. I haven't done much work on this thing. It's an area that I don't have much knowledge about. But it's a very straightforward issue in another sense. I have paid you, you haven't paid me. We have systems, institutions with personnel attached who deal with these issues. This must be easily verifiable, in my candid opinion. Otherwise, it's not worth being a Ghanaian at this stage, as far as I'm concerned.
It does look like we cannot go beyond what Isaac has just presented to us.
I am not too sure of that because of my experience in dealing with issues in this country. I will not restrict myself to that.
To these documents?
Yes.
Okay.
I've had situations where official records and things are put forward, and yet we realize that perhaps there is a need for some little reconciliations and updating in order to bring the records up to date.
Right.
I've had thousands of such experiences. So I'm very cautious when it comes to these things. We have a situation where a president has spoken, and when a president speaks, it comes with weight, okay? And he's been contradicted by the service providers. That makes it even more significant. And so it calls for serious verification process in order to just end this matter. And it shouldn't take us, we don't need Parliament to be recalled to deal with this matter.
Okay.
How is the payment format? What is it like? Who does the payment? Which channels do they pass through? Which institutions are involved?
Don't you think that the minister had the capacity to put this matter to rest rather than the manner in which he responded? Because his response does not provide a cure. He says, I have been going and I hear the complaints.
Yes, I agree with you that it depends on the style and sometimes the mode of communication. And these things are legitimate concerns you can raise. But the minister should go beyond just saying what he said and provide the records. Nothing stops the minister from calling and meet the press and counter and bring all the records on board. And indeed, in so doing, the institutions that are part and parcel of this payment process, okay, the National Health Insurance, Council, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, the Controller and Accountant General's Department. I mean, these institutions are available. The personnel who work with them are available. We are paying them monthly to do a service to the public. So when we have such controversies, and these controversies sometimes are unavoidable based on the kind of system we've put in place, the bureaucratic nature of some of our systems, the delay processes, and when payments, sometimes I have seen situations where payments have been effected. I mean, the Ministry of Finance has instructed, Controller and Accountant General has released. you follow the trail and you realize that it hasn't reached the end point.
Right.
It's happened in this country many times. Okay, so I will proceed on the basis of the president's integrity. He may have been also misled or misinformed, quote unquote, please. I haven't said that was what happened, but it is possible. I've had situations where presidents have put out information that turned out not to be accurate. And when you do your checks, you realize that the president relied on those he had appointed to give him that information. These things do happen from Nkrumah to today. Okay. So it is not an extraordinary development if the president put out an information that wasn't true. But once he puts it out, it carries a certain weight and needs to be double checked. Here we are, what I have been told, and I haven't seen any of the records. I have to be very honest with you. Last night I saw the topics. Then I realized that, wow, I needed to do some research before coming, which unfortunately I couldn't do. But what I've been told by word of mouth, which I'm not over-relying on, is that 2017, this administration claims that it's made a payment of 1.2 billion.
Confirmation of what the president said?
Yes, they insisted, and I've asked, in fact, I should sit here if I'm fortunate, the records will be brought to me. But this is what, because I saw this topic very late last night. Okay. And then between January and March, they claim they've paid 350,000 Ghana cedis. If you put it together, we are hitting around 1.6 billion. This is verifiable, easily.
Isaac, when was this document brought to Parliament?
Just before we rose.
Before you rose?
Yes, I can actually help you with the number,
so,
the 1.2 number. You see, the 1.2 number is in the receipts and payments. They said they have received 1.2 billion. Don't forget that not all the 1.2 will go into paying claims.
Yeah.
There are operational
I agree.
expenditures. There are several.
Yeah, so then we'll find out what was the president then alluding to.
I'm saying that the 1.2 paid to NHIS is not to suggest that when monies are paid to NHIS, they are for claims. No.
Fantastic point.
And so the claims are clearly stated.
No, fantastic point. It means that fact, it's for us to dissect now.
The scheme is expecting a total of 1.5 for 2017.
Yes.
Out of which about 800 million or 900 million of claims would have been paid. So that 1.5 may be true, but it is not for claims.
Okay.
So you need to read the totality of the income statement. The income statement. And how much of that money is attributable to the payment of claims is the issuing point. And those are not debts. Okay. They are normal monies that
when it comes to issues that I am not on top of,
so
I take my time. Yes. I listen to alternative views. No problems at all.
Right.
My view is that this is easily verifiable. I've just been brought the document I was seeking. I'll go through it and see if there's anything to bring board or bring on board subsequently.
Thank you very much. But Doc, aside the question I had asked you earlier, which is a bizarre situation, it looks to me. Here we are, like Poku is saying, even the certified documents of Parliament and its figures. Now we have to be careful on relying on same.
Not that they are of dubious validity.
Yes,
but that
we have to be careful on relying on same because of these civil service problems.
I haven't said of doubtful validity.
I mean,
sounds like please,
how interesting can it get?
Right. Yes. Right. Good morning to your listeners and viewers. You see, from where I sit, speaking for the average Ghanaian, we are not interested in these technicalities. We are interested in the efficiency in the service delivery systems and processes. We can talk about figures, but it boils down to what public sector institutions seems to be doing. This document is an allocation fund formula submitted to Parliament. Question then is, we are talking about 2016, 2017, 2018. This is a public sector institution. Have they been audited between 2016, 2017, and 2018? And where is the audited financial statement to accompany this document? Because we need figures that have been verified and audited. Now, if it is audited and they have their 2016 financial statement, then the obligations would have been captured in that particular financial statement. I'm not disputing the figures in this document, but the question I'm asking is, has it been audited?
If you are not disputing it,
yes,
your expectation will be that whatever figures the president or whoever will put up will be consistent with what has been submitted to the people's representatives.
Yes, we should go beyond that. Whatever figures the president would mention should be consistent to what has been submitted to the people's representative, in addition to certified financial statements. unless the honorable members of parliament can tell me that these figures there have been audited, and we have audited reports.
In that case, you are impugning this report.
I can't impugn it.
That's what you're doing.
What
because
I'm
you're saying that the audited accounts or report might contradict this figure.
Definitely. I am a professional audit accountant, and I can tell you that if this document is subject to audit, the auditor can express an independent opinion on it. And it is that independent opinion I'm looking out for. Then again, there's this issue of payment amount due to service providers and accumulated debt. I think we need to do that distinction to be able to establish what exactly His Excellency the President was referring to. Once we are able to establish that, there is something else we need to verify or establish from this document. Honorable Adongo was explaining the difference between an income and expenditure account and then a receipt and payment statement in this particular document. The two are not the same. So I think that the Auditor General's Department in this country should be able to do us a lot of good. They should be able to do us a lot of good. I also agree with Kweku that we don't need a parliamentary recall to resolve this issue. We have state institutions. We have Auditor General.
No, but let's put the record straight. Parliament has been recalled for some business. Actually, this is not part of it, right? Except that Nana was saying that he was expecting the MPs to have filed a question by now, and I was pointing to him that they are on recess and they could not have filed a question. Except that if his expectation is that even when they have been recalled, that can be done.
Yes, I do not expect Parliament to waste its time on this matter. I think what the best they can do is to request for the Auditor General to audit these figures and submit the report. That's all.
Okay.
I'm sure Kweku was saying that the Minister for Health can organize a press conference. Fine. If the records are there, the audited reports are there, organize the press conference. But I think that from where we have come from as a nation, we should not get to this point where we dispute about amount owing, amount paid, etc. In the health insurance chain, we have the service providers, we have the beneficiaries, we have the authority, and we have government that pays. And we have systems in this country. It should be easy to verify these things. And for me, I think the best document that can convince me beyond reasonable doubt is an audited financial statement for 2016 and 2017.
Right. But what would you say about Adon's response to, the question I put to him? The president said that the scheme is regaining its effectiveness. It's regaining its effectiveness. When I ask him whether that is not what we should be celebrating, he takes us to the figures to show that it is rather getting worse and not regaining its effectiveness. Just not long ago, when the president was on the campaign and saying that the scheme was collapsing, we heard the NDC say no, there was nothing wrong. What do you make of his response now?
Well, he has been in government before, and the current government is saying the authority or the scheme is regaining its effectiveness. But the figures I have before me tells me that at least we have made some modest progress, because the report of the same National Health Insurance Authority tells me that as at April 2017, it is estimated that they owe 1.2 million cedis to service providers.
1.2 billion?
Billion, yes.
Yes.
As at end of June 2016, membership to the scheme stands at 11,164,673, representing 41% coverage. However, there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of challenges. So, looking back, as somebody who has audited, in fact, let me confirm that I've been part of a process to audit claims that have been submitted to National Health Insurance before. And it tells me that we have made significant progress to some extent, but there is more work to be done, especially educating the citizens and the beneficiaries. Because in a system where I would attend hospital, I'll be giving the services, but I am not able, I'm not part of the process of validating the claims they put in my name. It's difficult and it's dangerous because citizens go and they don't know what is even claimed in their name.
Okay.
That is dangerous.
Right. Nana, having gone through the documents,
check this.
What's the bit you wanted to say?
This is supposed to be a document from the Ministry of Finance. Go to the NH side. Down, go down.
Right here?
From there.
NHIL?
Yes, from there to the next page.
Levy, National Health Insurance Levy.
To the...
Scheme.
I don't understand the document.
So, okay.
inadequate.
Okay, I think that I wouldn't be able to process this immediately. These are figures. Nana, but what point did you want to make? So that whilst we take a break, you can take your time and look at that. What point did you want to make? Briefly, do that in some 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. You know, I looked through the pages and pages of documentation.
And I don't want to be fair. You have these figures, which is supposed to confirm what the president is saying.
It's confirming exactly what is here.
It's confirming what is here in the
1.2 billion, and that is reported in the receipt column, which I said.
Okay.
And the receipts are not entirely for claims.
Yes, that you made that point.
I don't get
so the
okay,
president might have been talking about that.
Right.
I don't see any contradiction.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Nana.
I've been looking through the documents provided by Honorable Adongo. I was trying to look for an item. That hundreds of items, headings in there. I was trying to look for one heading that would talk about total debts.
Okay.
And I couldn't find any. Now, I'm saying that the challenge now seems to be on the amount of arrears on claims. I'm saying that debt goes beyond claims, and I'm happy that my brother here has also talked about.
Goes beyond arrears.
Sorry, debt, when I say claims, claims from the service providers.
Right.
The service, the money to the hospitals, the service providers really are the hospitals, is a big part of it. But there are other items of expenditure that all constitute debt. So I was looking for a single line in all this documentation that would talk about the debt position of the NHIS. I couldn't find it. Okay. But like I'm saying, this matter, and like Kwekutu has reiterated, this matter can easily be resolved.
All right.
Now, it is not only the president, Mr. Adongo tried to give the impression that the NHIS came to Parliament and presented one picture, and the president is presenting a different picture. What you have is that the boss of the NHIS himself is talking to the issues that the president is talking to. So, Mr. Adongo, summon him back to Parliament and tell him, but you've presented some figures that we believe are not in consonance with what you are saying. Okay. So that this matter can be resolved.
Yes, Adongo, yes, finish up in 1 minute.
You see, when you showed your video, you talked about people coming to say they were still owed money. Yes, the NHIS will always owe the service providers. The law provides for a 3 months period for payment to be made. So that 3-month period is there.
Right.
Also, people or service providers may submit claims. You heard the minister shouting that have they submitted claims and all of that. You have instances where people will submit claims from 2015 and so on. So you heard the boss of the NHI saying that they were not going to entertain claims that are more than 3 months old and so on.
Okay.
But so you may have isolated cases where people are owed money because their claims have not been validated. The claims you bring in must be subject to validation and audit.
Yes, the CEO has said so.
Yes, before it will be paid.
Right.
So if there are problems with the validation and auditing of a particular service provider's claims, those payments will delay.
So why should
that would be
the president be speaking ahead of any of these things being done and having the global picture correctly? You know, because look,
the president is speaking to the global picture.
Now we are holding documentations and we are having to I don't know whether say doubt, and yet, you know, we can't say we are doubting. It's quite a confusing situation.
Yes, I don't know. Okay, he says
he's done. He's done.
Oh, you are done.
He's done more than the 2 minutes I gave him. Yeah.
Yes, I think first, this is an exercise that has gone on for years. The figures that the MPP used in opposition, they were these figures. Suddenly we need an audited formula. But in any case, you want to find a debt reported when there's none. The people have come with a report. You want to find debt reported. When there's none, they should still report it. It cannot happen like that.
But there's no debt.
But I want to make the point. I want to make the point that I'm also an auditor. Okay. Anytime you have a significant figure in a financial report, even if it is a management account, you are supposed to provide a footnote to explain.
Definitely.
So, and these are the numbers. Those that they have to explain, they have provided a footnote. Suddenly, we are here conjecturing that there could be something else other than what they have brought. They are being audited. They know their systems that they have generated this report from. These reports are presented to Parliament. As a matter of fact, they explain these matters under oath. And we still don't believe that they are speaking the truth. They have given us numbers. The president is speaking to a different number. The one that should be doing the explanation is the president. I can understand the discomfort, but the one that should be doing the explanation is the president. Because the president, if he so wishes, wouldn't have presented. I'm sure this would have gone to cabinet before coming to us.
Thank you. We'll take a break here,
and
but
the president would have had the reason to know that this
Kweku seems to have been able to now, gotten a grasp of the document. His is not. He didn't call for an audited report. He didn't call for an audited report. It is Dr. Odro who called for an audited report. Yes. Thank you.
Let's hear you. I concede he has a point. He's got some documents here. These are records of Parliament. I have huge respect for Parliament. I don't underestimate records that can emanate from Parliament. So he carries some weight there. This document, though, is an extract. It's from the Controller and Accountant General's Department as well. And if you study it from February 2017 to December 2017, the 1.2 billion was paid. Then from January 2018 to April 2018, 350,000 was paid, all making 1.5 billion. Now, this is...
You're quoting million in billion.
Yeah, it should be million.
It's million. Yeah, it's million. Yeah. It's million. Or
no, you said thousand. You had been saying billion.
No, but look at it. It is not millions.
That should be a billion. It's billion.
So it's billion.
It's billion.
No, the subsequent ones. You didn't ask.
No, the second one is 350,000.
Okay.
Not million.
Yeah, million.
You said thousand. Okay. That's why.
Okay. See, but the point really is million. The 350. So all comes to 1.5 billion. Now, it may. So it means it's the same thing. The question now is the desegregation as to what it was tailored for. And that is something that I say is easily
and the
verified.
president context was debt inherited.
Yes.
Debt inherited.
If we follow...
And the document shows that what was outstanding was 425.
Yes, but it's obvious to us now. It is obvious to us now, logically, that the president was going beyond.
You're talking about the global picture.
Yes,
it's obvious. So how do we now also explain what the providers have been doing?
There's some lag all the time.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll take a break here. When we return, we will talk about a national security threat. Doctors and experts are telling us that if you see that we have broad day, robbery going on, and the people don't seem to have any feeling for human beings, perhaps it is because they are taking doses of tramadol. We'll be right back.